right, so welcome back to Chop It Up for this, the last one right before Christmas. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas in some parts of the country. My name is Kevin, host of the podcast, and as always, I'm joined by my brothers. I'll let them introduce themselves and we'll jump into it.
Tari Watkins, Oklahoma City, everybody. Now, for those of you that are in this part of the country, it's time to weatherproof a lot of stuff if you haven't already. Because, it's going to get cold, everybody. So please take care of yourselves. Cover faucets if you need to. Drip them, please. At this point in time, I don't care about a water bill. I just run it. Like, it's a steady little stream. Take care of your pets. Please make sure they're not outside because it's going to be cold. And if you don't have to be on there and I see you on the street, we're going to have words. I'm just saying. We're going to have words. And as Kevin on stage says, I might be saved, but I still got hands. Y'all can take that any way y'all want to. Just saying, keep your butt at home. I love you.
This has been your public service announcement.
Yes, it has.
Thank you.
Yes, it has. Good night.
Darian Lewis, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I really can't add to that.
Yes, you can.
No, you were thorough, sir. You were thorough. And what's funny is Kevin is looking like I ain't got to worry about none of it.
I already know.
How you go from sunny back to sunny? That's just anyway.
Well, so the cruise was, so for those of you that don't know, I was on, my wife and I and actually our kids, we were on a cruise, and it was, the weather was not ideal. So even though it was California down to Ensenada, it was still stormy. In fact, like we couldn't leave that first night on time because there was a storm that was in our path. So it was stormy and cool. The best day was probably the last day or the day at sea that we were on, because that way was at least tolerable. The other days were a little cold. And I'm not just saying that as a Phoenix resident. I'm just saying it was hard, it was 50s and 60s. So not ideal cruise weather.
Yeah.
Not horrible weather, but when you're also out on the high seas.
Yeah.
So wasn't no hopping in the pool, wasn't no hopping, laying out in the sun. A lot of other activities, of course, but yeah. And even now, I don't know whose cousin is visiting and brought some cold weather with them, but they need to go back home now. Because it's a little chilly here.
Hey, it's our brothers and sisters from up north in Canada. It's their fault.
Yeah,
I thought one of them, this is your fault. I don't need this. When we're colder than them right now, and we will be colder than them at the end of this week, that's a problem.
Yeah, agreed.
But there's no global warming. There's no climate issues. So
and it's all a hoax. Trump won.
What'd you say, Kevin?
And Trump won.
It was stolen.
Yeah. All right. So, kind of a serious topic to start with. While I was on the cruise, and that's the other thing, you are cut off from the world for a large portion of the cruise, unless you paying like $20 a day for internet, which
not doing it.
I ain't that connected to the internet to be concerned about it.
Me either.
But coming back, or like even when we go into port and I could actually turn on my phone and get some updates, news was breaking that popular YouTube dancer, or actually he was the DJ for Ellen's show for a while, and social media a lot, DJ tWitch, committed suicide. And so what was suicide, of course, is always going to be a why.
Right.
And of course, the normal things as far as we couldn't tell, he seemed so happy, why this, all of that always comes. And the answer is never going to be, there's never going to be an answer that makes sense as far as suicide. There's never going to be a time where you're like, oh yeah, I understand that. Suicide is one of those things that it's a cry for help that unfortunately gets heard way too late. Right. So I wanted to just dedicate some time to kind of talk through that, especially we're in the holiday season, when for some people this becomes, even in spite of everything else that's going on, becomes a depressing time instead of a joyous time. And so we want to kind of take some moments to talk about that and just even how we kind of keep ourselves regulated and keep ourselves good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, Key and I were both talking about it, and you, everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people say this statement, and you all have heard it. You've probably even said it, that we never truly know how people are. We don't. I mean, we see what they want us to see, especially if we're not part of a group that's, their inner circle, their people. What we see on TV, what we see on social media, most of the time is not them, unless they're individuals that tend to be genuine. I mean, for me, what what you get from me is who I am. I don't try to be
Right.
anything different than what I am in person or on social media. But when you have someone in that spotlight, we never know. We don't know what they're struggling with. We don't know if it's past issues, past trauma, past guilt. There's so many things. So for me, and this is just me, and it may not be anybody else, I usually take that as, an insensitive way to look at it, that, well, they looked happy, or they seemed okay. That's for me, we have to dig a little bit deeper, which for me means the people that I surround myself with. How well connected are we? What are we truly seeing? Are we making connections with individuals so we can truly ask that question and tap into life and say, are you good?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sensing something. But if we haven't invested into them, then we can't ask that question and expect someone to fully be vulnerable. So for me, it's sad. He and his wife, they've known each other since they met on So You Think You Could Dance, which Amy and I watched religiously back in the day. Got married, what, 4 or 5 years later. They both had two kids together, and then there's one child that is hers. And um, it was almost like, a fairy tale. They met then, and we don't. I mean, I can't say happily. I have no idea now. I don't know, but
Right.
it seemed that way. But for me, it's just, especially during this time of year, check on your people. I know we say this a lot, but the older I get, the more I realize that if somebody comes to my mind, I need to check on them instead of waiting and procrastinating, because there's usually a reason for that. And we have to be better with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Definitely. One of the things, though, um, depression is not predictive.
No, it's not.
And the other conversation that I'm not hearing a lot of is the fact that our culture, I don't care if it's men, women, it doesn't matter. Our culture demands that people stand on their own emotional 2 feet, and that they do not become a burden to anyone else. It is a silent rule that you are not an adult if you are showing any level of weakness or vulnerability for any
Right,
prolonged period of time. Now we
right.
can, we can say what we say, but the reality is that's not it. That's just not an easy thing to bring out. Hey, I'm losing it here. I literally, matter of fact, the ability to say that shows more strength than
Yeah.
than the
Yes,
silence, you
yes.
know. And and so it just being just completely transparent. I wrestled with that for a number of years, and especially when I was younger.
Right.
Um, so I understand and feel very, very much internally what that struggle is, when it's like, man, I need to talk to somebody, but I dare not say a word to anyone. I
Mm,
just got to figure out how to make this work on my own. And
right.
whether it's a chemical issue, physical issue, spiritual issue, whatever's really going on inside somebody, man, that is a dark hole that you just do not see. Um, no one else is in there with you. I don't care how close they are to you. And the best a lot of us can do, honestly, is be a little intrusive with folks that become absent, that if you really love somebody, you should love them enough to let them want to cuss you out because you got in their business. That's just how I feel about it.
Mhm.
If you love me that much, if you say you love me and I disappear on you, man, pick up the phone, fuss at me. That's fine. What are you doing? This is not cool.
Mhm.
This ain't healthy. This ain't blah blah. Whatever you say, just
Mhm.
let's have that dialogue, and push till you get something out of me, or anyone that we love. We just I think everybody's more aware, and we show up a little better. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? But
Mhm.
uh, in situations where you need to push the envelope, that's when you need intimacy. You need
Yeah.
folks that can, I don't care how you feel. You finna talk to me.
Right. Right.
Yep.
We can have a fight and go get something to eat later. But right now,
Exactly.
Right.
you about to talk
Right.
to me.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
I'm not
Yeah.
going anywhere. Hey, we can dig our heels in right now, but I'm just letting you know we're gonna get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
We'll go get some wings here in a minute,
And,
but we're gonna hash this one out.
yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
hash this out if
Yeah.
if it takes a couple of days, whatever it takes.
Right.
And I can truly say I've had brothers who at my breaking point, Kevin being one of them, at my absolute worst breaking point was just simply there. Just,
Mhm.
hey, bro, I'm here. Yeah, you can talk to me. And so I took opportunity to do that. Can't thank you enough, Kevin.
Yeah.
Cannot thank you enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a rough scenario, man, that does this. It's a complex, very, very intricate situation. You rarely hear anyone saying, yeah, I saw that coming.
Right.
No, you don't. No.
Right.
Because a person does such a good job in masking it.
You learn to white knuckle it.
Yes.
You just learn to put on the face. You learn to do, and the reality is, when they are laughing, it's genuine.
Right.
When they are having fun with their kids, it's genuine.
It's the
It's not
moments after
fake.
that.
But it's
Right.
when
The moments
everything
after
gets quiet. It's when everything gets
Right.
silent. It's when we're in those moments alone that those sounds are deafening.
Deafening.
Right.
Because we've got so much other stuff that's drowning that out. But when we get by ourselves, people don't understand those voices are loud and present and they don't go away.
Right.
And that's really hard for a lot of people to understand. Well, just forget about it. Okay.
Okay.
Think other thoughts. Think other thoughts.
Or, and I'm going to step on some toes here. Have you prayed about it?
Oh my
Have you been in your word? You must not be in the word the way you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
That opens up a whole nother can of worms.
Mhm.
And we've talked about it a little bit before, but yeah, it's more than just that. Are you not living right? Okay. All right. Yeah. These are real questions that I've
Right.
heard.
No.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You're absolutely right.
Yes, people that are listening now, I'm not making that up.
No.
No.
And we
No.
have to do better than that. We have
No.
to do better than that. Just give it
Yeah.
to the Lord. Do you think I haven't done that already?
Right.
Just trust him. I do trust. Okay.
Can you get out of my face, please? That's the next statement. If you say one more thing,
You're
okay.
not wrong.
Not
All
at all.
right.
Yeah, I think that because again with this one, everyone points to, oh, he seems so happy. Again, it's the appearance that
Right.
we take as actuality. The other
Right.
thing I think is that there are those that are saying, well, that's kind of also the issue with social media, that we have to present these perfect lives. Social media only basically lets us see other moments, but
Right.
suicide was happening well before there was a Facebook,
Yes,
well
it
before
was.
there was a MySpace.
Mhm.
And so the issue has remained the same throughout time, if you will.
Mhm.
It really, in some respects, comes to also having a community. If I can
Right.
just be honest in this moment here, we do chop it up every week, or as much as pretty much every week, right?
Mhm.
We're not doing this for thousands of people that are watching this show. Part of me doing this, can I be honest, is being able to have my conversations with my brothers where we can talk.
I
And
agree.
I can tell those of you that are watching, there have been several times, either before or after the show, where between the three of us, we've been like, look, this is what I'm going through.
Yes.
I need y'all to pray for me,
Yes.
because we've developed a community, a bond, a brotherhood,
Mhm.
that we can be transparent with each other. And so even having those people that you can be transparent with, and transparency is not automatic. It is earned.
Mhm,
Yes,
It
yes, it
is.
is.
It is.
mhm.
Yes, it
It,
is.
and I've said this probably behind the scenes. There are things I know about Darian that Tori will never know. There are
Right.
things I know about Tori that Darian will never know.
That's right.
Now, if Tori wants to share it with Darian, that's between the two of them.
Mhm.
But I've earned the transparency with both of these guys,
That's correct.
because they know I hold their stuff, not to cover them, not to cover up for them, but to cover
Right.
them.
Right.
And so that's the other thing, is just, if you don't have a circle, get a circle. And yes, that circle, you're going to build some relationships with that circle, and you're going to grow that circle. But everyone needs to have like he is just saying right here, have a strong community, have a place where you can have those conversations.
Yes.
And listen, if I got to cuss a few times,
So
they not
be
gonna
it.
come back at me and say, well,
So be it.
Pastor Kevin, listen.
Why you gonna say it like Harpo?
Good. Good. Yes. He put voice to the emotion.
He
Yes.
sure
Listen.
did. No, but you're right, man. It's I'm going to say something, and Kevin, Darren, you've heard me say it many times, but we probably have people that haven't watched for a long time. Some people think this is vicious, and some people think that it's wrong. And yes, lying is not the correct thing to do, but it is okay to vet people with false information. I've done it many a time. If I'm wrong, God's going to deal with me. But I've purposefully told people things that were false about me, myself, Amy, whoever. Well, not whoever, but Amy and myself, and to see if it got out to someone. I just wanted to see. I vetted them, and if I didn't hear it from anybody, they were probably okay. I didn't give them the green light, but they were probably okay. And I can keep moving on in this process to be able to be and create an environment of trust and as Kia said, a community to where you can be who you are around people, and you know your stuff is not going to be out in the street, or your business isn't going to be put out there. That's important. It's incredibly important. And people also need to realize, and we've said it before, not everybody needs access to you.
True.
Certain individuals, yes. Like Kevin has access to me. Darian has access to me. Corey, my best friend, has access to me. Carlos has access to me. There's literally a handful.
Mhm.
It's not like 10 or 15.
Right.
Certain individuals have access to me because they've earned the right, and hopefully subsequently I've earned the right with them.
Mhm.
And it's important to have that, because we need to have that.
Yeah.
Is it easy? Of course it's not. Will it take time? Of course it will. But we have to be strategic. We have to be intentional. We have to be purposeful with doing that for ourselves, because we have to make sure that we have those individuals that can surround us in the times when we're on our knees, when we buckle and we don't have the strength, and we need somebody to be our Aaron, to hold our arms up, to be there for us. And we have to make sure we secure that before we need it. And I think that's the biggest piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There's a not to well, I'm about to say not to. It is what it is. There's a parable in the Bible that Jesus uses, the shrewd servant, who, when his master was about to throw him out or put him in prison, he goes to all of the people that owed the master and started striking deals with them.
Right.
And so it gained favor with the folks that owed, and it gained favor with um, um, the Lord. You know, I'm using bad vernacular, but yeah.
Right.
Anyway, but at the end of that parable, when Jesus is actually giving out the lesson, what he says is, you know, when you do that type of behavior, when you express yourself in such a way that you express favor and gain favor, You have that so that in your time of need, you
Yes.
can't. You will have a place to go. They will keep you.
Right.
You know. And when it comes to building that community, man, it's proactive first.
Right.
Yes, it is.
You
Yes,
know,
it
it
is.
really is proactive first.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. One of the things we can be pretty critical about the church and its shortcomings at times. We're the first ones because we're up in there
Right.
trying to do our best to give
Yes.
people what they need for kingdom living.
Mhm.
But one of the things that I am I am more proud about the church about is the fact that community is almost inevitable in the right church.
Yes, it
Right.
is.
And sometimes even in the wrong church, you at least gonna have community. Now they may
Right.
be as religious as two left shoes. Ain't no God
Right.
nowhere.
Right.
But everybody know everybody and they take care of one another.
And that's huge.
And it's
Yes.
huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So, you know, for those that don't have that, man, you know, and even with that level of at least a weekly check-in, if you will, you know, particularly when we go to services, not just log in, but when we get to go to services, I'm expecting to see people. People are expecting to see me. When
Yes.
they don't, they'll give you a week.
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah. Maybe.
They'll maybe give you a week.
Oh, it's
Right.
been a
know.
couple of days. Hey, I didn't see you.
And
I was
I
on
can't tell you how many times.
vacation.
Listen,
But I'm okay with it though.
Right.
I'm absolutely okay with it.
I have had Kevin and Tarsha drive up to my door the Sunday I was not there. Bruh, what's going on?
You good?
That's facts. That's facts.
Bro, they didn't give me no warning. They didn't call me. They didn't text me. They didn't check. No.
And then the next Sunday we showed up like, you ready? Let's go.
And gave me a ride. Like, we're going to make
Let's
sure.
I love it.
And so that's you know one of the things that I'm so happy about when it comes to the church. You're gonna have, and don't get me wrong, you can that's mimicked, that's recreated in so many different arenas. But the best relationships that I have experienced, the ones that have been the most trustworthy, the ones that where I have literally been able to lay out the nastiest parts of my life, real talk, has been brothers and sisters from the
Yeah.
church that have covered me. Like you
Yeah.
said, did not cover up, confronted me. I can't tell you how many times Tarsha would confront me. She called it prayer and prophecy, but I knew what it was, you know.
That's right,
And
Morris.
because
That's right, Morris. That's
ooh, bro,
Yeah.
and I was one of them. Yes, we did that. We didn't play with who we considered family. And the crazy thing is, like when Morris popped up, I've known Morris since he was a teenager. You know, me and Morris have known each other since we were teenagers, man.
Right.
And we are friends to this day because of that level of community. And so, yeah, I think it's paramount that people find that. I don't care what it is, man. If it's a weekly bowling team, if it's
Yeah.
you know, whatever it's got to be, you know,
Yeah.
and not just a situation where you have to contribute so much in order to keep it up.
Tasha said it was the Lord.
Lift my dirty hands and tell him thank you.
That's hilarious.
It was God.
It was
It was God.
It's God. But Darren, you said something that's incredibly important, man, and it's that word proactive.
Mhm.
We have to, and I think I said it before, we have to be intentional. We have to lay that foundation, because if we need it and we don't have it, it's a little bit too late. And then what do we hear when nobody was here for me? I understand that thought process, but we have to make sure that we have those people in our life. There was a time, and just to be candid and transparent, Kev, you know me, Darren, we've known each other for almost 3 years now. You kind of know my temperament. It takes a lot for me to get upset. Kev knows this. When I mean it takes a lot, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
There was an incident that happened probably, it has to be like 7 years ago. It was before Amy passed. I was to the point of shaking mad, like uncontrollably. And Steve came over immediately. What I mean immediately, like within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was about to lose my grits because of stuff that I won't say, but that happened here.
Mhm.
I probably had not been that mad and upset in my life because I probably would have laid hands on somebody.
Mhm.
And I know I'm not supposed to. I already know that. Again, I'm too soft and cuddly for jail, so I'm not trying to do that right now. But
again, let me just say this. I told you, deliverance happens by the laying on of hands and the laying on of hands.
Or the laying on of hands. Yes, sir.
So one way or the other, it's coming out.
Demon coming out.
One way or the other is gonna happen, right? No, but if
We
he
will
had
have peace one way or the other. Yes, sir.
pop, the biscuit. Hey, we serving food and laying on the hands here. Hey, we got it covered. That's just the way we work. No, but
Is it sacrilegious to say, Paul, I know, Jesus, I know, Mike Tyson, I know, but who are you?
Exactly. But if it hadn't been for that, man, if there's no telling what my reaction would be, because I was about ready to get in the car. I'm just being 100% honest with you. And it took him coming and seeing me in a way that not a lot of people have seen. Honestly, him and Amy, maybe not even a handful of any other people, because I just don't allow myself to get away. But when it does happen, and I need someone to come and step in, he was there. And so I say that because it was years of developing that relationship.
Right.
And it started with him trusting me with information, stuff that other people don't know that I know, and then not going anywhere else. I know I was being vetted. I get it. I understand that. But that's what we're supposed to do. And then in turn, I did the same. And because of that, he was there in a time where it was, I was broken, seriously broken. It was, and actually it was around this time. It was like the day before Christmas. Seriously, it was like Christmas Eve, if I'm not, or 2 days before Christmas. Perfect time. I thanks, Satan. Yeah, I see what you're trying to do, buddy. That's all right. But you all, that's important, having those individuals in that community around you and being vulnerable enough to let them in. And being vulnerable enough to give them access. And a lot of times that's what we may have issue, because we've been hurt in the past. I get it. All of us have dealt with past hurt. But finding those people and knowing that they're going to be there is crucially important for all of us.
Can I expand this just a little bit?
Of course.
Same stuff, but kind of want to expand this. One of the things that it's a TED Talk, and I watched this a number of years ago on addiction and how it was, I think the title is something like, a new look at addiction. Anyway, the speaker brought up some very, very interesting statistics, how there are European countries who have basically no longer made illicit drugs illegal. Now, they haven't legalized them, but they have no longer, they've stripped away punishment for users. Because one of the things that they discovered was addiction dropped, we're talking 30, 40, 50% when they understood that community and family had a greater impact of cessation of the need for drugs and alcohol than anything else. And so instead of paying more money into the jail and prison system, the judicial system, they began to do more into counseling, and particularly family counseling, really trying to help people reconstruct a sense of belonging in the community. And it had profound effect. Now, I have my own theory why America will never go that route. I probably don't even need to say why. But yeah,
I wonder.
I wish I had a dollar bill right now.
But Darren,
could there be a financial component to that, Darian?
Of course, there's a financial component to that. Of course, there is. Of course
Okay.
there is.
But that's that, when we see the level of the opioid crisis, that for
Yes.
whatever reason it's just no longer a headline, but that ain't nothing changed. For
Not
whatever
gone away.
reason, people think, oh, we don't talk about it anymore. So
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Exactly.
How dare you, sir?
Yeah, some people need to get themselves together, pull themselves up by their own bootstraps.
Okay.
So what if they don't have any boots? Yeah,
Right, exactly. Boots or straps.
boots or straps.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's man, the okay, because I couldn't remember this before. The there was actually a study, and this was an American study. There was actually a study of Vietnam veterans, because the heroin addiction for soldiers in Vietnam was insane,
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
just crazy insane.
Yeah.
And so they actually started following these heroin addicts from the time they left Vietnam to when they came home, and what happened as a result of them coming home.
Right.
The guys that came home and never picked up heroin ever again were the ones that were reinserted into their community with importance, with value, and with love. They were surrounded by family and friends, and they were received with basically a hero's welcome home. They received a job, they received opportunity. Whatever was over there stayed over there.
Right.
The guys that didn't make it back are the ones who had no one to arrive to when they got home, that they were basically on their own trying to figure it out. Those were the guys that they couldn't get off the stuff. And so it wasn't the chemical makeup of it, it was the fact that that was needed to cope, to and the truth of the matter is, even to me, suicide is, as you mentioned, it is the final straw, it's the final cry of help, but at that point it's too late.
It is.
But the reality is, a lot of if we're abusing anything at all, it's typically because we are internalizing something we have convinced ourselves no one wants to hear, and it's just not true. It's simply not true.
Yeah. It's
And
just
Darren,
it's really
go
just a
ahead,
matter
Kev.
of finding the right lit sounding board. And you, the way you, and we've kind of talked about this already, the way you find the right sounding board is testing it out before it's needed.
That's right.
Right. It is a proactive journey that translates into being really helpful when it needs to be reactive. Right. So
Good stuff.
So Darian and Kev, look up Hope Center Ministries whenever you get a chance. That's a ministry that has houses for both men and women that are recovering from whatever their addiction is. And our church is associated with the Bethany House here in Oklahoma City. But the reason I smiled when you're talking about, the ones that had that sense of community surrounded, the guy that I'm with each week that I mentor from Hope Center, we literally talked about that yesterday in our session, about how this go round is different from the other times that he's been in a facility, because it's the community that is around him. And the way this Hope Center is being run in Bethany, and each Hope Center is attached to a church, and so they're involved with our church. And I see him every single Sunday. I talk to him. Then we meet on Mondays, and I'll go through this journey with them. But it's that sense of community, the brotherhood within that house, the community with the church, and people truly, honestly looking out for them and caring, and knowing that it doesn't matter, what day he may have, but I'm that person for him. And if it wasn't for that, and the people that are surrounded, not just me, but the others in that house, that it would be a whole lot easier to go back. Because of that, like you said, it quells that thirst for that addiction, because we've talked about it before, but for anybody else that's new, it's us literally changing our limbic system, which is it's a chemical reaction within our brain that we use certain things as a coping mechanism. It could be smoking, it could be sex, it could be gambling, it could be drinking, it could be drugs, it could be shopping. It doesn't make it be TV, it could be overeating. But whatever we're using to cope with our struggles is what our brain likes, and so those endorphins are sent out whenever we partake of whatever that addiction is. But when we put other things in its place to create those endorphins, that feel, it does replace it. And it's more than just, again, yes, prayer, Bible, all this stuff, but community, replacing that with something else to reprogram our limbic system to deal and to cope with the stresses of life is how we get over that addiction. And a big part of that is, like you mentioned, Darian, community. Who do we surround ourselves with? Who do we have with us? And when we don't have that community, it's really hard to break that habit.
Yeah.
I am convinced more than ever. If you guys ever get a chance, but I think we talked about it. Power of the Blood Covenant blew my mind when it talked about our walk with God is not just individualized. There's a huge part, a huge component of a successful walk with God that requires the koinonia, the Greek word, the interaction, the interconnection. I don't, the actual definition is social intercourse.
Right.
It is a combining of one to another. If you don't have that, you're missing a huge element of living a successful life in the kingdom. And westernized, Christianity, we've definitely kind of downplayed the necessity
we have
of not just folks showing up together. That's one thing, but actually walking out life together,
doing life together.
That's like a major component to doing this thing correctly. Again, community was already built in, and so any we're all believers, so that's the perspective we're always going to come from. Not only are we believers, but we're leaders. So we're always going to come from that perspective. But anyone that is a part of a household of faith, or some type of brotherhood, sisterhood type of connection, that you're going to realize, man, life without those folks is very, very different than life with them. It's just it's there's an emptiness that you just almost can't explain when you don't have your people.
There is even, because solitary confinement is considered torture.
Yes, it is.
You were not meant. We're going back to Adam and Eve. It is not good for man to be alone. That wasn't just about him having somebody that he could lay with and have some fun with, right?
Yes, sir.
That it was. We are designed and geared to interact with people. And so they tell us that even like when they put people in solitary confinement, it is literal torture. And that's why you have folks that are in there too long start to lose their mind. They start to lose touch with reality because they don't have that community, that connection. They don't have it. Even the brothers that are locked away for years, they at least have bonds with those that are in there, right? But when there's those that are locked away in solitary for a long time, it's a problem. And so even I think the thing to kind of put here is that no one has to be alone, right? If you're isolating yourself, you don't have to isolate yourself. And part of that, if we're just circling back around to DJ tWitch, you can be in the midst of a crowd and still be alone if you don't reach out and at least have those places that you can say, I'm going to stay connected here. Right.
And be authentic in that connection.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's I know of people who they give so much that they don't think people realize that they're hiding. You can be so been there, done that. You can be so just servitude and help everyone out, and I don't need anything. This is all for you, and
I'm
people
just blessed and highly favored, brother.
And people will eat that stuff up.
They will.
But it gives you the opportunity to hide what's really, really going on, and so you actually don't show up authentic. You show up helpful, but not authentic.
Not authentic. That's right.
And you can't have a relationship if all you ever do is give. Relationship is give and take.
Yes, it is.
It is plain. It's give and take.
Yeah, relationships are reciprocal is the way that I've
Well, they're
have
supposed
come
to
across
be
it for years.
reciprocal.
Well, it's not a
Well,
relationship if it's not. I don't.
yeah, it's a
let's keep it.
stalkership.
Yeah, let's keep it cut and dry.
Relationships are reciprocal. Stalkerships are one-sided.
Yes, sir. And
So
you know, if you've got a situation, listen, folks, listen. For the poster child who've been in lopsided situations the majority of his adult life, can you tell
Right.
my voice changed? I feel this thing.
Yes, it did.
Please have a greater standard for yourself. I've gotten to the point in my life where I would rather be alone than to be in a situation where I feel like I'm not getting the love that I know I need.
mhm.
Plain
Plain
and
and
simple.
simple.
Because, well, let me just say this, because
No, go ahead. No, you're good. Go ahead.
what
You're
I
good.
have realized as a result of making that stand, I just got to that point where I'm sorry. I would rather be alone than to keep wanting other people to love and respect me the way I love and respect them. If and there's no slight on them. If you don't
Right.
see me that way, that's not like you're a bad person.
No, not at
We're
all.
just not there. And I got to have enough self-love and self-respect to say, okay, that's not the source that I need to be connected to. But what I have recognized is once I made that stand and that standard, the statement is the universe abhors a vacuum. I still need what I need. Man, when I tell you, all of a sudden these relationships begin to come with people who are being authentic and people
Yes.
who are, the water finds its own level.
Yes. Yes. It
Water
does.
finds its own level,
Yes,
but
it
you
does.
do have to make that standard. Listen, I deserve, not only deserve it, I was built for a reciprocal give and take, mutually beneficial relationship, and I'm not just talking romantically, I mean period, across the
Just in
board,
Right.
general. Yes.
Right.
where the people I'm connected to, we help grow each other and build
Yes.
each other and become everything that God has called us to be, because without each other we can't do it. And it
Yeah.
took me forever to realize that. Man, I've tried to do it all on my own.
There's a meme or Facebook post that I saw recently, and I'm paraphrasing it, but it was basically like a bottle of water in one environment costs 50 cents. In another environment, it's $2. In
Right.
another environment, it's $10.
Right.
All it is the same water. It's just a matter of what environments it's in.
That's
And
right.
kind of what you're saying, Darian, is that you didn't you've begun to recognize that no, you're a $10 bottle of water, and you're not going to submit yourself to 50-cent type of mentality. And I think that that's the other thing is that we
Or
find the
park
places.
water hose.
Yeah,
Park water fountain. Anyone
Right.
could, yeah, ain't no telling what's going on in there.
right.
It's hard to get to
Because
that.
at
Though.
the end of
It's
the
not easy
day,
to get to
you've
that.
got to your value. You've got to recognize your own value
Yes,
and be
you do.
around people that will honor your value.
Yes.
Right. My wife and I, we just had a meeting. I'll tell you guys about offline. But we just had a meeting where just who we are, just kind of just us talking like we normally talk. They were like, "Oh my God, hey, what's your cat? We need to send you an offering. This has been so helpful. This is," and we're like, "Okay, this is just what we do."
Right.
But we've been in other environments where it's like, no. But for this environment, they're like,
Boy.
and those were environments where we were giving away for free. We were volunteering.
Right.
But we go into this environment and they're like, man of God.
Right.
Because you're worth
Right. What's your Zelle? What's your Cash App?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
your worth is valued and your worth is appreciated. And it really depends on the environment that you're in. Because not everybody sees it the same way.
Mm-mm.
Mhm.
And it's okay.
And that it is okay.
It's okay, but you
Yes.
do have to be self-aware enough to realize, man, to me, that's the catch-22. That's the sweet spot
Right.
of really upgrading relationally. Is that number one, I know my standard and I know my worth, but now I don't hold any ill will to those who are around me who don't recognize it.
No,
I,
and you
I
can't.
release you.
And you shouldn't.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is not you you just aren't the one. We're just not supposed to have that. And it's okay. I wish you well. I pray that you get everything that you need and that everyone in your life is giving you exactly what you need. But I've got to set myself up to receive on the level that I know I'm supposed to receive,
Yeah.
And I honestly think that's the sweet spot. I think a lot of people are looking at those who they may have wanted and desired relationship with that they didn't
Right.
get, and now they're
Right.
mad. It's
Right.
like, well, you just, and I gave you the best years of my life, and all the vernacular and the verbiage that we hear when something doesn't go our way, and we never look at it like, oh, I'm actually throwing a bit of a tantrum because this didn't go the way I wanted. It's just didn't go
Right.
the way I had anticipated, and
Right.
I have yet to graciously release them to the best that God has for them. But boy, I'm convinced that's the sweet spot.
Dude, you realize that you're like all over my toes right now. You understand that. Not in a bad way, because I mean, you all know we have many conversations, and Darren and Kevin are going to know what I'm talking about. But that was a decision I made earlier this year, and it was one of the hardest decisions I'd ever made, ever.
Mm-hmm.
But it was for that exact reason. No ill will, none
Right.
whatsoever.
Right.
Not a terrible person at all.
It just wasn't. Yeah,
No.
it just wasn't.
Mhm.
It
No.
wasn't mutually beneficial and
It was
providing
not.
growth. The opportunity
Exactly.
for blessing and growth. Yeah, and
Exactly. And y'all, it's not always going to be easy,
Mm-mm.
but we have to make sure that I said it to my guy two weeks ago. In order for us to take care of others, we've got to first take care of ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How am I going to be able to serve in the ministry and take care of others and be there for others if I have not taken care of myself first?
Mm-hmm.
And that self-worth, that self-confidence is as important in everything we do.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that that's straight and making sure that we are solid in that, and understanding what we not just want, but what we need.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that we need? What is it that we're looking for in any relationship, whether it's a love relationship or a friend or a brother? So it doesn't matter. What are we looking for? What do we need? What are the things that are important for us as in business? What are the KPIs? What are the key performance indicators? What are the things going to make me successful? Because those are the things that I know that I need and what God has put inside of me. And if we just settle, then we can't be as effective as we need to be for others because we're not properly taking care of ourselves. But once we do that, like Darren, you said, you start just seeing these relationships start to grow and almost seem like they've been birthed out of nowhere. But that's because, that's right, self-care. But that's because we're now making sure that the ground that's around us that we're in is able to be fertile to grow those relationships, because we're making sure that we're in a place where we can grow also.
Right. I mean, they tell us even when we get on an airplane, right? If the oxygen mask drops down, put it on yourself first. Then worry
kids.
about other people.
Yes.
Right.
Then worry about the others.
It's not that we don't value kids, but it means in order to effectively help someone else,
yes,
I've got to be in a position where I can help others.
That's correct.
And the way I get in a position to help others is making sure that I'm good, making sure that I'm okay.
That's right.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
Now,
all
it
right,
it took 52 years for me to get to this point. But I'm there. Yes.
Good. We got about 10 minutes left. We've got the holiday. Well, we're in the holiday season, of course.
Yes, we are.
But Christmas has snuck up on us really quickly, just because it seems like last week was like January 3rd, just because this year, again, like years all the time are blowing by.
Yes, it is.
I have a hot take about Christmas, and I'm just going to throw it out there.
Oh, here we go. Boy, you're going to drop it with 10 minutes left, a hot take?
I'm going to drop it with 10 minutes left. Can we get rid of Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas?
The song?
I'm sorry. Yes.
The song All I Want for Christmas Is You?
I'm tired of it. I'm tired.
I'm
not
Christmas
tired.
album is still the #1 Christmas album. You realize that, right?
I get it, but I'm tired.
She said, "Well, dang."
Well, you know.
I'm just saying.
But
Listen,
Kev, you do know,
They want to know where the wound came from.
you do realize that Mariah Carey has two of the biggest stalker songs ever. You know, All I Want for Christmas Is You and Always Be My Baby. Y'all just read the lyrics of Always Be My Baby. Just read it. And you're gonna be like,
the
stalker
other
much? So yeah.
the other one, if you read the lyrics, Tevin Campbell, Can We Talk?
Yes, that's another one.
Well, I mean,
I
if
know
we're
I'm
gonna
messing
go
up
to
a whole lot of people right now. So yeah,
if you're gonna go with the greatest, most the greatest stalker
you got
song of
another
all
one?
time, yeah, that's gonna be The Police. Every Breath You Take.
Oh,
Every
that's
move you make, I'll be watching you.
every
Yes.
move you make, I'll be watching you. Yes.
Tarsha, you know we ain't
you're not
playing that in
wrong.
our house. Sorry, and don't you dare put
Hold
it
on.
on your playlist.
Alexa,
Mm-mm,
say all I want for
mm-mm,
Christmas is you.
mm-mm, mm-mm.
Oh man, you're gonna get it, Tori. You're gonna get us cut off early.
Alexa, stop. No, I'm
And
not
that's
trying
wrap,
to get
ladies and
cut off.
gentlemen.
Kevin's about to mute me and like boot me from the
Listen,
show. I
You
just
forget
stopped Alexa, Kev.
he's got a
I
power of the button.
He's like,
And ladies and
I'm,
gentlemen, that's chop it
I'm
up for
just
this week.
no, it's more like sorry, Tari's having some technical difficulties, everybody. He'll join us next week. Just
Okay.
gone. Just evaporates.
Just gone.
Thanos snap. He's gonna Thanos snap me. That's exactly what's gonna happen.
Oh man. So
I'm just
so
saying, let
what
somebody else come through with a song.
okay, so
But here's the thing. But people have tried, man. But for that album, I mean, Mariah Carey broke the mold when she did that Christmas album, and it stood the test of time. I mean, it
she's
really
still
has.
getting paid.
Still, and I'm not mad at her.
Her children's children gonna get paid off of that Christmas song.
That thing is in rotation in
I
almost
know, right?
everybody's house. There,
Well, not mine. I'm with Kevin, not mine. I don't necessarily want to get rid of
I
it.
said almost everybody.
Yes.
I didn't say all. I said
I'm
almost.
just making it plain. I don't necessarily want to get rid of it, but I don't play it because it's played so much. Like everywhere you go, you're gonna hear it. So I'm not gonna drive myself crazy.
Hey, Ashley, you already know that banger came out before you were born, and we still bumped that Christmas album. BBCC's absolutely love it.
I was technically would have been in college still when that song came out. 1994.
Oh,
Not even this century.
Yeah, that's when Ashley was born. That's exactly right. Here's the
that
thing.
song
It still goes hard.
it's not going anywhere, man.
It's not going to Kev.
It's not going
I'm
anywhere.
sorry, bro. It's not going to go anywhere.
That's
at
like
all.
you asking for them to not play It's a Charlie Brown Christmas, you know.
It's not going to go. Or I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. It's not going anywhere.
But here's the thing. Those like the Charlie Brown Christmas, it comes on, you can turn the channel. All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey is at every Walmart, in every store.
Every Walgreens,
Driving past, it's on every radio station.
Every
Pandora,
commercial,
Apple Music,
at the end of every show.
Listen, I could get with Silent Night by the
Morris,
Temptations.
you right. You are not wrong. Yes,
But even that doesn't get the airplay that All I Want for Christmas does.
It doesn't.
I'm just saying, it's been what 28 years or 20?
Because
what is it, 20,
don't forget, Mariah Carey
28
hit
years?
that vein of being in both genres. I mean, not genres, but crossing both lines. She was right there in that vein.
Oh, when that came out, she was pop. She was all the way.
Yeah, she was pop. And so that's why it's played and listened by. I mean, it gets more played in Sing's Christmas. It gets more played than Boys to Men's. Anybody, because she at that time when it popped, we couldn't get enough of her at that point. So Kev, I'm sorry, bro. It's not going to go away. It's not. You can petition. You can storm the Capitol. You can have another one.
You can one gotta go it.
One gotta go it. Ooh, we should do that next week. Ooh, we should do that next week.
Ooh, Christmas version,
I'm-
holiday
Yes.
version. Oh,
Yes,
that would be
we need to. Yes.
that would be interesting.
Listen, this is how badly I want to get rid of it.
Oh no. What's that?
I'd even put Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5's Christmas album back in rotation.
Oh
What's
wow.
wrong with their Christmas
Well,
album?
first
Y'all
of
know
all,
how
it's in
you know how I
rotation.
feel about Michael,
Stop, click,
but you
click,
know how I
click.
feel about Michael too.
Yeah, so we know
Well,
you feel about Michael.
He's getting played a lot this year too. I don't know what that's
Yeah.
about. I get tired of the little high voice, little kitty voice. Like, oh my god, he's a 6-year-old soprano. Stop.
I'm just saying, Pitbull needs to come out with a Christmas album.
Who?
Pitbull.
Hey,
Gucci Mane.
doesn't Snoop have a Christmas album?
Yes, he
Hey.
does.
He does, yes.
Yes, he does.
Look, Christmas.
Run
Snoop
DMC
also
does too.
has. But Snoop also has like daily affirmations for kids. Have you heard that?
No.
Yeah, he got affirmations for kids.
And it's probably good.
It was like,
It's
okay,
probably really good.
okay.
Man, listen. So far, anything that Snoop does, the scary part is his heart is so for people.
Kirk Franklin's out. I mean,
He's got a few. He's got a few things that are playable.
He's got
I don't know if
one
I can go with his
Christmas- he got
album.
one Christmas album.
All I remember is sing, Dalen.
Hey, now the movies that Kurt Franklin have been these holiday movies that he's been doing here recently, hey, they're pretty legit, man. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's not the greatest quality, but you know what? I ain't mad at him. Do your thing, brother.
Same script, different cast.
Well, that's Hallmark for you. You already know that.
Same script. Different
The
cast.
first 10 minutes you predict what happens. I mean, we all know what's going to happen. Pause. This.
Listen,
Play.
when I went for Thanksgiving, I went with my mom. We went
Right.
to one of the sisters from the church invited us over, so we went, and so of course they're playing, all the Hallmark Christmas
them?
movies, and so I'm the only male there. And so we're watching it, and so of course, me just. The older I get, the more cantankerous I become. Yeah, that's scaring me, and that's the best word I can use. But what one of the things that I noticed was I was telling them 2 minutes before what happened, because I'm like, it's the same script, different
Kev,
cast.
don't even do it. Kev, don't even
Hold
do
on,
it.
Darian. Tori just realized he's got a lot of Hallmark movies in his future.
Get him, girl.
It already happened.
Yes, get him.
We're trading off though. We're trading off. Like the other night, it was Jingle Jangle. That's what I wanted to watch. Then okay, all right. Which one do you want to watch? Oh yeah, let's do it. Now some of it been cute. I get it. Hometown girl comes from the big city, comes back home to the small town, sees
Right.
the dude she used to be in
Right.
love with. She's in
Right.
a relationship. And starts working around. Something happens. She has to leave, but comes right back again, works in the town, and falls in love with him. I mean, that's 99% of the movies. Am I wrong? Christmas or not?
Now, the flip one is when it's the princess who didn't know she was a princess, who winds up going to the new country of who knows what abad, and discovers that number one, she's a princess. Number two, she falls in love with and the guy from back in the other country. She has to go home. And they whole love train. Yeah, man, it's either they return back to the small town from the big city, or they leave the small town to go into
Right.
Princessville.
Tarsha, they didn't set me up. I already dug this hole, so I might as well keep digging because I mean, if you're going to go all out, go all out. So.
Hallmark movies and Drake concerts are all in your future.
I hate you so much.
Chocolate ice cream covered in candy corn. Yes.
That will get you shot. Keep playing. Keep playing. I'm a grown man.
Oh, I can't wait. These just jokes, baby. This is just jokes. Yeah, this is the podcast.
I'm like Martin, baby. This is just a podcast.
It's just a podcast. It's just a podcast. You know how I feel. Makes you want to snuggle on the couch with hot cocoa. Yes, sir.
Hey, ain't nothing like a good ginger
Yeah,
snap. I
man.
ain't gonna lie.
Just feeling all kinds of soft inside.
Warm
Now,
and
ladies and
snuggly.
gentlemen, please, I feel it is necessary that I must remind everyone that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Is capital I, capital S. Is a Christmas movie.
Please put that in your rotation.
It's not a Christmas. It's not Christmas time until Professor Snape's fall from. What was it? The Yamaguchi Tower.
Yamaguchi Tower. Yes, sir.
Until Professor Snape falls from the tower.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not Christmas.
You got A Christmas Story. You got Charlie Brown. You got Die Hard. Listen, and then you got Elf.
You got Elf, exactly.
All of those should be in your Christmas rotation.
Gia watched Elf for the first time a week ago.
It's okay. I've accepted it for both of us.
He's double stamped it for the two of you, Tarsha.
It's a Christmas movie.
It is.
Oh, I love it.
It happens during Christmas. He wears a Santa hat. They're at a Christmas party. I mean, yes, exactly.
Because okay, we've talked about the formula for a Christmas movie or Hallmark movie, right?
Right.
The formula for a Christmas movie is it's Christmas time. You have some conflict that is keeping one part of the family from the other part of the family, or there's conflict between the family.
Yes.
Something's happening with the family at Christmas.
He is
going to meet his wife.
That's right.
Conflict breaks out.
That's right.
But at the end, there's a happy ending of him reuniting with his wife.
There you go.
Perfect Christmas movie right there.
And it feels so good.
Yes.
And then what was Tarsha?
You all, if we don't have Chop It Up next week, you know what happened.
Straight eye roll.
Straight eye roll. That was
straight eye roll.
Like injury.
Listen,
my Lord. She's like,
all
my
right,
man.
So listen, we are at the end of our time. We've gone our time. It's been a blast. Some great conversation around a very serious issue, dealing with DJ Twitch, but even just kind of the broader conversation about developing a community and developing relationships. Yes. And of course, it would not be chopping up without some hot takes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Darian, you stole that from me because I was definitely about to put that in there as far as Die Hard.
It is.
Yeah. It is
what it
real
is.
quick, I wanted to also, while we were talking about Christmas albums, I looked up some of the strangest Christmas albums.
Oh, there's some strange ones out there.
Yeah. So Afro Man had one called A Colt 45 Christmas.
What?
There was one called Christmas on Death Row from the Death Row
Yes, I've heard of that one. Yes.
And then Twisted Sister had a Twisted Christmas album.
Why?
Listen. So
listen,
and I'm just saying, in 26, 28 years, however many it's been, we can find a replacement for Mariah Carey.
Bro, it's going on 30 years and we haven't.
Good luck.
But at least Nick Cannon is doing his part to maybe give birth to the next version of the song. He's doing his part.
Let that man live his life.
Oh, he's living his life and giving life.
He's giving life. He truly is giving life.
What is he up to now?
One way.
How many is he up to now?
11.
I think 11. Yeah,
it's 11. Yeah.
I honestly feel like there's a secret running tally in Hollywood that no one's telling us about. Because Eddie Murphy has what, 10?
What?
Yeah.
Eddie been busy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People forget
how many Sean Kemp have?
Ooh, 11, 12?
Sean Kemp had a lot.
He got Montana.
He got
Montana.
He got a whole state. He just bought a state. Y'all move here. Everybody here. Okay? And you can spread out. Go as far as you want.
A whole state.
He said just Montana. We'll take Montana.
Sean Kemp goes, steps out of the plane at the airport. You get a kid. You get a kid. Everybody gets a kid.
Everybody gets a kid. No one does without.
And who else is it? Future. Future got about 5, 6, something like that.
5 or 6. That's kind of Wow.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, look, that's
Agreed.
it for this one. We will see you. We'll actually be here next week for Chop It Up.
Yes,
Enjoy
sir.
your Christmas, enjoy your holidays with your family, and we'll see you next week. Have a great one. Be blessed.